We are live on Facebook.
Woo!
CamiBaker.com. Super excited to be fabulous, fierce, and on fire today on Fridays with friends featuring my friend, Miss Darling. Miss Darling and I found each other via a webcast. About a month ago, another friend of mine, Cindy Hendricks, had Jennifer on her podcast. I watched it. I thought it was awesome. She does LinkedIn, and she does it. Her unique sales proposition is that she does it without the paid subscription, which I think is fabulous. And hold on one second. I am now doing the same thing I've done before, where it is showing me on Facebook Live. Hold on one second.
You're
Okay.
live and live.
Yeah, I'm live and live. I don't know why it does that. I have to fix it.
That's because you're super on fire.
I'm super on fire. So her unique sales proposition is that she does it without paying the $70, $80 a month, because there's so much that you can do on LinkedIn without having to pay all that. And she and I had a wonderful time together. Just so generous with your time. Thank you so much. Gave me some fabulous pointers on LinkedIn, because as much as I love my Facebook peeps and as much as I'm addicted to doing Facebook Live, LinkedIn has LinkedIn Live, and that's really where my people live, because they're business people, entrepreneurs, visionary business owners, thought leaders, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to be quiet for a second and let you take over. Tell them a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do. How did you get into the whole LinkedIn thing? And I really want to give in the next 30, 40 minutes a lot of great value, just like what you gave me, that people can actually put into play immediately to really beef up their presence on LinkedIn.
Yeah, sure. Cami, you know what? It was kind of by accident how I got on LinkedIn. So I've spent the last 20 years of my business career in sales and sales management for TV companies, selling advertising and managing sales teams for advertising. So for like NBC, Fox, Comcast. And what happened was I decided that I really, really wanted to be into professional speaking. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I wanted to have my own business. I didn't want to work for the man anymore. I want to have my own thing. And so I decided to jump in head first, both feet deep end of the pool, and go all in. Like I left my corporate job and I started a professional speaking job. And that's a pretty risky maneuver. But before I did that, I had been exposed to LinkedIn. And so I had been exposed to Facebook at one time. And my friend Kelly told me, you've got to be on this thing called Facebook. And I'm like, why in the world do I need to spend my time on Facebook? I'm already on MySpace, right? And so you know where that went. So I got on Facebook, kind of a little bit of a late bloomer, and started working, getting friends and whatever on Facebook. So I was doing this test over here on LinkedIn. I'm reaching out to people on Facebook to make connections. But over here on LinkedIn, I'm like, how many people will reach out to me? What happens if I just put this LinkedIn profile up, but I don't do anything and I wait for people to come to me? And I did that for a little while until I left my corporate job. And I thought, oh no, now here I am in a new world and a new business, and I need to connect and reach new target market really quickly. And while Facebook is awesome, I love Facebook. There's a lot of stuff going on Facebook that's social, that's personal, which can be great for your business too, but it wasn't just a business platform, and it wasn't where a lot of my particular target market was hanging out. So I said, well, I better get on board on LinkedIn. And I started reaching out and connecting with people. And I started researching, studying, and testing LinkedIn. I've been it's been a big major focus now for the last 2 years, when I left my corporate job the first time and started building on LinkedIn. And then I went back, I got coerced into going back to a corporate job for 6 months, and it didn't work out because it wasn't supposed to work out. So then when I left that corporate job, I had already grown my connections. I had already had a really big advantage on LinkedIn that I hadn't had before. And what happened was my speaking business started to grow pretty significantly because of the presence I had built on LinkedIn. Now, one thing that I want to mention is people ask me all the time, why in the world do I want to do LinkedIn? And it's kind of like why I was saying, why in the world do I want to do Facebook when I've got MySpace? I'm not saying Facebook's going anywhere, because Facebook is awesome and it's huge and it's mammoth. But there are starting to see a decline in the numbers of users on Facebook. And there are some things about LinkedIn that are special that do not happen on Facebook. And one of those things that you and I talked about is searchability. So when you post articles and you create your profile and make it super awesome, then your profile and your articles and publisher are searchable on Google, Yahoo, and Bing. When you put stuff in Facebook, it's only searchable in Facebook. And you can't even publish an article on Facebook anyway. You can only put a link to your website or somewhere else. Websites are super awesome, but unless you're sending people there or you're paying advertising or for SEO, it's not building an audience on its own. But when you're on LinkedIn and you do all the right things and you're working it and you're engaging it and you're connecting with people, LinkedIn actually promotes your stuff within the LinkedIn platform. And so it's like SEO without having to pay for it. And this is with the free version. I mean, it's super exciting, the searchability features in LinkedIn, if that's just it alone.
Well, and I love. It makes me think, gosh, I wish I had known 3 years ago what I know now, because all the effort that I put into Facebook, if I had been putting all that effort into LinkedIn, which I am transitioning into, to your point. So another thing that you had shared with me that people will find interesting is when you put in a contact, I meet you at a networking event. Talk to us a little bit about the social, what do you call it? The social, the SSI,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Social index. Because when that is at a certain level, when it's high enough, then when I put you in as a contact, you are naturally going to start getting things that I post, my articles and things that I post. If my SI, and I know I might be getting that
That's
wrong,
okay. Yeah, I'll explain it.
is right. So tell us a little bit about the SI, how we can bring that up. And by the way, how can I find it? Because when you and I were first working together, you sent me over a link. And when you sent me the link, it went straight to my SI and it was great. But as I go on LinkedIn, I'm trying to find it so that I can watch and see it grow. Yeah. Where do I go to find that? Talk to us about that, because that's
it's a separate URL that you want to put in. So when you're in your LinkedIn profile, you're not going to go in and find it. You actually have to have the separate URL, and I'm going to give it to you right now. So if you've got a pen and paper handy, grab it.
Always.
And write it down. It's linkedin.com and then / the word sales, and then / the letters S as in sales, S as in sales, I as in income. That stands for Social Selling Index. What it is a rating, a ranking of how your profile is performing for you. There will be a big number in a pie chart. That's a number between 0 and 100. And then on the right-hand side, there'll be 4 bar charts. It'll say branding, it'll say engaging with people, etc. The number in the pie chart is the accumulation of the numbers in the pie chart, or the pie chart. So the bar chart, sorry, they're 1 through 25 each, and they are points. And so depending on how you're doing in LinkedIn, if you're engaging with people, if you have an awesome profile and you've used all the profile functionality, if you're writing articles, if you're sharing, if you're connecting and networking with people and you're building relationships with people, then your social selling index score will increase. If you have a really low one, like 20, which a lot of people do, they have a lower score, it means that you are not going to be as searchable as somebody with a higher score. Your goal is to get to a minimum of like 65. And with the free version, you can get up to, I've gotten as high as like 80, 84. And several things happened, but one of the coolest things that has happened to me is that I could go to a networking event and I can meet people at a networking event. I come back. Now I'm not going to put their business cards in my email marketing list unless I've gotten approval from them. For one, as you said earlier before we started, it's just not great etiquette. Like, I don't want to start getting spammy messages and how do you even know that I want what you've got yet? So for one, don't put those in your email, but instead you can go connect with people on LinkedIn and you can send them a message and you can say, hey, Cami Baker, it's me, Jennifer Darling. I just met you at the Women Fierce, Fabulous, and on Fire networking event. And I really appreciate our time together. Love to connect with you on LinkedIn. Okay, so now you like that message because it was personalized to how we met, so you're going to accept it. And magically, what's going to happen, it's not magic, but it's internet magic, is that people have told me time and time again, Jennifer, I see you everywhere. That's because after we've connected, I'm engaged in LinkedIn on a consistent basis. And now you're seeing my articles, my posts in your newsfeed. Not only that, but I'm going to go watch your news feed and I'm going to comment on your things and I'm going to like your things and I'm going to share your things. And you're going to be excited because you spent all this time putting thought and energy into the posts that you make. And now I'm going to be kind enough to share it and comment on it. So it helps increase your viewability, helps increase my viewability. And we start to build this relationship that comes kind of naturally, but strategically. And I'll start to show up in your newsfeed more often. Now, the other thing I can do is I can go back to that messaging box. I could use it like a CRM and I can say, all right, well, I want to do a class on LinkedIn. And so I'm going to look up all the people who came to this particular, I spoke at CAPS in Canada. I'm going to look at people that I messaged for CAPS. And so I had put that, hey, it was great to meet you at CAPS. I can go search for CAPS. And now I can go message those people. Hey, Barry, it was really, I'm so glad we met at CAPS, blah, blah, blah. That was the first message. I go back, Barry, I love that you attended my LinkedIn seminar at CAPS. I'm doing a LinkedIn workshop. Would you like some more information on it? Would you be interested at all in sending some information? If you are, I'll send it. If not, okay, whatever. So I can use that searchability factor in there as well. So just see how full circle this works.
So I want to
network.
I want to make sure that people understand that and understand the clarity of that, because it's so brilliant what you talk about. So just to be clear, we met at CAPS in December 2017, example. So you meet 10 people there, and in your strategic way of marketing, when you put that in there, now when you go back and you're wanting to find all the people that you met at that event, I think about it for myself. Well, I meet 100 people a month at different events. How do I remember where I met them at? CRM systems are very complicated, blah, blah, blah. But because you have this system that you met them at Chamber of Commerce, December 2017, because you have a system and you put that in there, now when you go into the search, Chamber of Commerce, number one, you'll pull up all the people you ever met at a Chamber of Commerce event. And then December 2017, now you'll pull up specifically those 18 people. So this is something I never would have thought of. Now we as networkers may just put, hey, it was so nice to meet you at the Chamber event, and that's great. And I want to talk about that for a second too, as a way to engage with people. But I want our viewers to understand this is a great way for you. They don't know that you have a system, but you are specifically putting in your message a way that you can go back and find them. And one of the things that I teach as a quality connections that convert queen is that when we're reaching out to people, I see this mistake all the time. People will send, whether it's a LinkedIn, Facebook, email, voice message, text, whatever it is. Hey, Jennifer, Cami Baker here. How you doing? And in our ego, in our hysteria somewhere, we think people just remember us, but they don't. So when I send a message, I always say, hey, Jennifer, Cami Baker here. We met at the Chamber of Commerce event on Tuesday last week. You may remember we were talking about both of our kids go to Harvard. In other words, I'm going to remind you specifically who I am and where we met in that message. And this is a mistake people make all the time. I'll role play this with my clients. I'll explain it. Listen, you need to tell people who you are right off the bat. I get it, Cami. I get it. I get it. Then we'll role play and they'll do the same thing again. Hey, Cami, this is Jennifer. How are you? And I have to remind them, look, now I'm sitting here thinking, I know 18 Jennifers. Who are you? So like you've started the conversation almost irritating them because they're busy. They got a baby in their arms. The car's running. They got stuff to do. And now when you say, hey, this is Jennifer, now you've left them having to think, okay, who is this person? Where did I meet them? So it's really important that not only do you use this system as a way for your CRM to be able to find people, brilliant idea, great tip, but also so that you remind them immediately, okay, I know who this person is. I know where we met. I'm not irritated. Now we can move on with the conversation. So it does double duty to do that, to remind people where you met them. Yes?
Absolutely, 1,000%. I totally agree, because I think of myself, I'm so busy, so not only have you done that, but probably if you've been active in LinkedIn, then your stuff has been showing up in their newsfeed too. So when you make that brilliant message, like you just said, which is to remind them where you saw, you can remember what you talked about, then they'll have that exposure. Plus they may have seen some things in your newsfeed too. So it's a really great way, to set yourself apart, because we've got to create top of mind awareness in a world where we're swirling around with thousands of people every day in social media and in-person environments. So how are we going to set ourselves apart and be unique like that? We're going to have to be different. And to put them in an email and just send an email, that's hard. That's not different. Like I just wiped out a whole bunch of unsubscribed emails that I get because I don't remember where I'm sure I signed up for them, but I don't remember where, right? So another thing about the strategy is that LinkedIn in-mails are open 300 times more than a regular email. 300 times. That's crazy.
That is.
For one, when you get a message in LinkedIn, you see the person's picture there. So that's nice. When you get an email, a regular email, there's not a picture there. Real estate agents are brilliant and they know that the picture, your face, is so important. There's not a real estate agent I've ever met who doesn't have a picture on their business card.
And by the way, let me just also point out another key factor that you pointed out to me. So always had my photo on. I'm a big proponent of not only have your photo, but have your photo updated at least every 2 years, if not every year. Not only does your hairstyle change, but the energy of who you are. I am telling you, when I go back and look at all my headshots from 5 years ago that at the time I thought were good, I'm embarrassed and horrified to look at them now. My photos get better and better every year because I am growing, I am learning, I am expanding. I have my vision board, my office is my vision board now. And so the energy of who I am comes through in every photo. So the point that you brought up to me the other day that I didn't think about is on your LinkedIn, and you have a banner at whatever your banner is, and then you've got that photo that's in the circle. Well, I had my headshot there, but it was a little bit distant, And I think about this with online dating too. Online dating, business marketing are so similar. A guy's got a long distance photo. He's standing next to a statue somewhere, and you can't see his face to save your life. You'd have to save the photo and zoom in just to see it. So to your point, what you taught me to do was, Cami, great headshot, but if it's too far away, we can't see you. You need to deliberately crop in so that the person can see your face, especially on a mobile app. So not only have a headshot, but be strategic about it not being too far away and that it's close enough that when it's on mobile that you can actually see the person. Yes?
Absolutely. And what happens is 80% of people are viewing social media on their smartphones, that tiny little screen. And when you have people that, first off, there are recommendations that come up. So you have a whole bunch of small little bitty faces that are popping up. So if there's no picture in that spot, and I've seen a lot of high-level professionals leave the picture blank because they think their background picture is going to do the trick. Well, you don't see that on your mobile phone. You need to see that. You need to see your face. And the other thing is that as you're scrolling through and deciding who you might want to connect with or do business with, if you're in the market to do business and you're looking for someone and you have got a really nice professional headshot of a close-up, and then you have got somebody who you can't see, you're going to pick the person that you can see their face and see their eyes. And that's why I say the real estate agents are so brilliant, because they know people are going to be making the biggest purchase that they've ever made in their lives. And the number one most important thing is trust. And the face and the eyes are the first thing people see to start to build trust. So if you're too far back, I can't see that.
Well, as a real estate agent, having had my license for 15 years, I can tell you real estate agents aren't really brilliant. It's just that it's just such common practice for them to have their headshot. They're not that
they don't know why they're doing it, but it's a brilliant thing to do.
They're just conditioned. Let's talk for a minute about how to search out and find the right kind of people to connect with. You know, you and I do something that's so totally different, but yet is so complementary to each other. So for example, I want you to speak to us on how to find who it is that you're looking for from a search perspective, psychologically and like physically. If we had time, we'd go on and we'd share screen and all that. So I want you to speak on that. And then I also want to interject my little piece of this in that when you find that person that you're wanting to connect with, because I'm done with using the word network, let's call it connect. So when it's a person you want to connect with, here's what I teach my clients. Stop sending the copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. People can tell when it's the same thing. Yes. You get it, I get it, we all get it all the time. Hey, I saw your profile. I think we have a lot of things in common. I'd love to get on the phone, blah, blah, blah. Very boring, very copied and pasted, nothing personal. Here's what I teach my clients to do. When we reach out to people, there needs to be 3 parts to it. Number 1, research, reach out, relationship build. And when I say research, I don't mean spend hours or days or have a pie chart and spreadsheets. I mean, take 10 seconds to research. Do they have a Pomeranian dog? Do they like to yacht? Is the name of their company Fabulous and Fierce and it resonates with me? Are they from the same hometown? In other words, is their headshot awesome and you're wanting to get a headshot? So you say, hey, that's a great headshot. Who's your photographer? So when we reach out to somebody, and remember, when we're reaching out, we're not reaching out necessarily to hundreds or thousands of people. If you're the kind of person, like for one of us, my client might be a $3 or a $5 or a $10,000 investment to be a part of a campaign that I help them with. So to send out 10 of these kinds of messages, it is a good idea to take 10 minutes to do it right. So I will put something personal. Hey, Bob, I love your headshot. I'm looking to get some new headshots myself. Who did you use? This shows him that I actually looked at his profile. Right. I love the yacht that you're standing next to. My brother used to have that brand. I hear that the motors break down. What's your experience? In other words, you're pointing out to him that you actually looked. So there's 3 parts to it. The personal part, so that now he actually wants to read it. He knows that he's not just a copied and pasted person. Then in the middle, there can be some kind of a copied and pasted thing that is the bulk of why you're reaching out. Something, along the lines of, I'd love to talk to you about how I can serve your community. Or, I've got an event coming up in Boston. I'd love for you to come be my VIP guest. I'll hold you a seat in the front row, whatever that middle part is for you. And the third part of reaching out to someone is really important. It's the call to action. So at the end, a lot of the times people will say, I look forward to seeing you at the event, or, hey, let me know when you've got time to talk, or, reach out to me when you've got 10 minutes.
It's very open.
Tell you about my service. We don't want to do that. We want to give them a call to action. And it's never a yes or no. Like, would you like to get on the phone is a yes or no question. We don't want to do that. We don't want to say, when would you like to get on the phone? Because that's ambiguous and it makes them think, well, I don't know when I've got to pick up the kids and my wife, and I'm busy, I'm working late. So they start going off in a place of, I'm not sure when. So we confuse them. The call to action needs to be either or. Listen, are you more of a day person or an evening person? I've got time on Tuesday at 4 or 6 better for you. I would love to save you a seat at my event. Would you like 1 seat or 2? In other words, a call to action that will instigate them reaching out to you and creating a relationship. So now that I've shared a little bit about how to actually reach out to people, please help us understand how to find them so that we can reach out to them.
Well, I am so with you, first off. So we don't sell products that are commodities, and we don't sell $5 widgets. And if you sell $5 widgets, LinkedIn probably isn't the place for you. I mean, it's just, this is not a commodity. These are relationships. Every single customer is important and valuable to us. So we do want to take the time. And I hear a lot of people say, automate, systemize, cut and paste, blah, blah, blah. And, I think that it sounds fine, but the challenge with it is, it sounds fine because it saves them time, but I know when I'm getting a cut and paste, and it does, I'm not interested, and I can ignore a cut and paste, but a message directed to me and pointed to me, it gets my attention. So what you can do to research people is that you can, in the top bar, there's a search bar in LinkedIn. If you know the person's name, you can type the person's name in there. And if you come up with a whole bunch of people, you might have to add the city. But once you start to instigate a search, it'll come up with a list, and you can go hit the word filter, and it'll give you a whole lot of other options to choose from to filter down to the right people. Those options might be job title, they might be industry, company, they might be city. There's all different options. If you don't know a person, but you know the type of the title of somebody you'd want to work with and the region they're in, you can instigate that search just by typing in a title on the same filter. You'll have to hit the button filter. You'll see it at the top, it'll come up. So here's what I do. I go and I can follow that person without connecting them. I don't have to connect yet and send no message, because I like to send a personal message just like you. I can go follow them now, and I can see what they're doing. What are their likes? What are their dislikes? I go look at their profile. And a lot of people say, well, don't they know you looked at their profile? Yeah, who cares? Like, I don't know why that's a big deal. Yes. And maybe they'll see that I looked at their profile, and maybe they'll reach out and connect with me because I looked at their profile. In fact, that's a strategy I use, is people that look at my profile, I go and connect with them. You looked at my profile, was there something interested? Would you like to be a connection? So I do it both ways, but go look at their profile, see what they're into. There's a woman, her name is Sylvia. And I met Sylvia. She was a big speaker at a huge conference. I met Sylvia there, and I figured, she's met hundreds of people. How am I going to stand out and be different? So what I did was I started to follow her. I started to see what she was all about. And then I sent her a private message. And Sylvia is not somebody who, I was looking to be my client, but she was somebody who I want to make a connection with because I could learn from her and I could follow her. And I love the work that she did. Maybe I will be her client someday, right? But I still need to set myself apart. So I sent her a private message where I met her, and also some of the things I learned about her on her LinkedIn profile. She accepted my connection. Then what was happening is she was creating a podcast, and she got this new photo shoot, and she looked gorgeous. And everybody commenting was saying, Sylvia, you look beautiful. You look gorgeous. I went and listened to the podcast. And I took out something, it was a great podcast, and I took out something from the middle of the podcast. So she knew I wasn't just listening. And I went back and I said, Sylvia, I really enjoyed your podcast. I resonated with what you said about this. And she replied back to my message and said, wow, you actually listened to the podcast. Thank you so much. And then I started sharing some of her work because I really like what she does. And also by sharing other people's work, you're promoting yourself. Some people say, well, all you're doing is promoting everyone else. No, not true. I'm actually promoting myself by giving value to my customers. I know what they want. And so I don't have to always create everything, but I can share other people's things as well. And now I'm in a triple win. Win me, win them, win the person who I'm sharing with. So then the next time I show up at a networking thing and Sylvia is there. And I went up to her and I said, hey, Sylvia, it's me, Jennifer Darling from LinkedIn. And she said, oh my gosh, you're Jennifer Darling. I am so excited to meet you. I was speaking at this event. Now, the first time she's speaking, this time I'm speaking. She's like, and I said, I'm speaking next if you'd like to come to my session. She came to my session and now we're friends. We message each other. She's, if I need something, I could call Sylvia. She would want to be there to help me. She's not going to help the 800 other people because they didn't do anything or make anything special. I don't want anything from Sylvia. I love learning from her. But now I have a special relationship with Sylvia that expands beyond what could have just been a business card or not, or nothing. Right. And now I have this rich relationship with this woman who knows. And she saw me speak. Maybe she will refer me to speak to somebody that she knows who might need a speaker like me. All that stuff works together. So research people, find something specific and interesting to engage with them on. And you're right. If it's a prospect, make a call to action. So many people miss that part, the call to action. And you might not be ready for an appointment with them. Do another call to action. I have a LinkedIn ebook. Grab my LinkedIn ebook. Here it is for you if you'd like to learn more about using LinkedIn. That could be a call to action if you're not ready yet to have the sales conversation.
There are so many things that you and I are in sync about, and I want to bring you in when I'm in the middle of getting started with creating my Quality Connectors community. Quality Connector community. And not only are you going to be a part of that as an honorary member, but I want you to be able to be a guest speaker and talk about these different things, because I know that you have a program change over time as this recording goes on for months and years, and I hope that you will mention that at the end of this. But there's so many ways that we can support one another, me coming into your groups to speak and you coming into mine, because you said a few things, and I just made a couple of notes to point them out. You said, make sure you listen to their material. Notice that we are right now doing this because I listened to your material. Now, a friend of mine interviewed you. I'm going to be being interviewed on hers. And so she said, hey, the best way for you to understand what I'm all about is to listen to a couple of my interviews so that you get a feel for the platform. It happens to have been yours that I listened to because as I was looking through the topics, LinkedIn was something that I wanted to learn. But it's so interesting. It's so important for our viewers and our listeners to see our strategies at play, at work, in the moment. So you and I are both very well connected. We both have lots of large networks. We both have extreme expertise that are in synergy. And the reason why we are now collaborating, being a contribution to one another, is because I listened to yours and was able to reach out, not from a place of, like you said, I reached out from a different place. Oh, wow, you actually really listened and you really enjoyed it, type of a thing. So that's number one. The other thing you said was, isn't it weird how people will say, well, they're going to see that I watched them. They're going to see that I creeped on them. Well, duh, you're in business. It's so funny. It goes back to the whole online dating thing. If you know that somebody's looked at your profile, it's a good reason to reach out. Hey, you looked at my profile, and vice versa, And so I actually coached with a company a couple of years ago, And the employee that was the only female in the room was their promotion, their branding, their marketing person. And she was so ignorant in saying, because I said this kind of thing, I said, find out, do they have a yacht? Do they have kids? Like, are they going on a trip to Disney World? Like, what do you see in their social media that you can bring up when you reach out to them as a way to build rapport? And she says, well, aren't people going to think it's weird to be stalking and looking at people? I said, if they have posted photos on Facebook or LinkedIn that they've been to Disney World, it ain't no big secret, and they're okay with you knowing. And of course you want to bring it up. And it's called being a human being and having conversation. So interesting to me that people are in the business of marketing and they don't understand how to market and they don't understand how to create communication. So don't be one of those people like she was and like some people are. Oh, well, people think that's weird. Don't have the mind like this. Always be assuming, hey, they put out there that they just bought a new BMW because they're proud of it. Mention it. Boy, I love that color. That's a beautiful blue BMW. Yeah, good for you, because you want to mention that. And the other thing I want to mention is research, reach out, relationship build. You just talked about it again. So many people don't understand this concept. I'm the alliteration queen, so I come up with all these fun alliterations. But you said yourself, you had researched, you had reached out. Now, when you walked up to that woman, hey, I'm Jennifer Darling. And she was like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. So guys, it is so important. Instead of waiting until you get to a networking event or some place where you're going to connect, don't wait to walk in the door to stick your hand out and say, hi, my name's Cami. What do you do? You're missing the boat, man. You got to be able to research, reach out, relationship build. There's a big difference in, hey, I'm Cami. What do you do? Versus, oh my God, it's so nice to finally meet you. See, it isn't about wasting time. It's about leveraging time. It's about doing things smarter instead of harder. Some people would say, well, gosh, to do this research and to look people up and to point out that they have, Jennifer, you're asking me to do a lot. No, sweet peas. We're telling you to be smarter about your time. Spend a little bit of time getting to know that person before you even meet them, because now when you meet them, you are jumping straight into collaboration. You and I jumped straight into collaboration, and here we are. We haven't even met, but we feel like we know each other. I'm wanting to have you as a guest on my groups. I'm wanting you to be an honorary member of my community, et cetera, et cetera. So I just really wanted to point those out. Do you have any comments on any of that stuff I just said? Because I know you do.
I know. Get known, be visible. I just had somebody reach out to me on Facebook and connect with me, and he just, sent a friend request. I take the friend request. I take a look at his profile. I don't remember his name, but we'll just call him Barry. And I replied back and I said, Barry, thank you so much for the friend request. I see that we have National Speakers Association in common. I see we have a lot of friends in common. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you. What was it about my profile that made you decide to connect with me? And he replied back and he said, I hear your name everywhere. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? But this guy is a Hall of Fame speaker. He's been, and the best, some of the best business is referrals, right? Your customers or people who know you. Referral business, it's awesome. And so I'm expanding my sales territory by having people who know me or talking about me behind my back in a good way. And so now that we can get to know each other, and I have, hundreds of salespeople, not really, but referral partners who, if the time comes up, and they hear an opportunity for somebody to speak about sales, then they're going to go to their file cabinet, and who are they going to think of? They're going to think of the person who is top of mind, because our brains work really quickly, and they're going to go, oh, well, I know she's a speaker in sales. Oh, I know she's a speaker in connecting and networking. I know she has that Fierce and Fabulous Fridays, and that's the person who they're going to be at. So if you are hiding behind social media, you can't make yourself visible. You can't be building familiarity and building common bonds with people. And that's not going to get you to where you need to be. I mean, we all have to grow our business. That's why we're in business. Never, I don't know many people, I know a few who say that my business is just fine the way that it is. Well, good for you, but that will never be the case for me. Even if I was a gazillionaire, it wouldn't be fine where it is, right? For me, it has to keep growing. So we have to be visible. We have to build relationships. One of the best things you could do for your business is to get people coming to you. If your business turns to where you're going to people all the time, to people coming to you, how awesome is that? But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes strategy. It takes planning. It takes effort. It takes hard work.
It does. And it starts with the very first step. It's like when I talk about creating the NetWeb, when I talk about the analogy of the spider and how the spider is strategic, and she places a connection here and there. If there's a spider in a windowsill and she's placing these connections, it's kind of like in business, we're placing all these connections. I connect you to certain people who you can be on their TV show, or you can teach them about networking through LinkedIn. And I'm at a networking event and I introduce this person, that person. In other words, all these connections that as a spider would do to create a web. My analogy is, when the spider's web is done, and in the spider's life, it might take a couple hours overnight. In our analogy, it might take a couple of years, but it started somewhere. When the spider is done with the web, what does she do? And in our case, what does she do? Now, some people would say she waits to eat something. Well, let's have a little bit bigger view of it, because what happens is, when the spider has created her web, she sits back and she waits for that which she wants to come to her. Mm-hmm. So to your point, when people, when opportunity, when speaking gigs, when referrals, when resources, when venues, et cetera, are coming to you, that is a beautiful place to be. And so when we are talking about what we're talking about today, it takes a little time. It's so funny. We don't drop a seed in the ground and get pissed off because there's no apple tree. Like, we know that it takes time for that seed to grow. We know that it takes time in nature for things to happen. But for some reason, as business people, well, where's my referral? And how come I'm not doing business right now? And where's my check? And you hired that coach. What results have you had? It's been 6 weeks. Look, it's got to grow over time. And when things start coming to you, it is a beautiful thing. I just had a text come in yesterday from Eric Swanson, who runs Habitude Warriors. And it's so funny. There's so many gurus out there that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people following them that you and I have never heard of, because there's just so much abundance out there. Right. Maybe you haven't heard of them, just like I haven't heard of some of your people. Right. But he reaches out to me and he says, hey, there's this stage coming up, and I really want you to be a part of it. The web is there. So we have been yakking for almost an hour.
Doesn't seem like it.
Sometimes these only last for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Sometimes they go for an hour, but you and I have so much to talk about here at the very end of our time together, because I do want to really focus on your expertise with LinkedIn. What are a couple of things that people can do, right? And not things like make sure you have a headshot, make sure you fill out your bio, but like what are some real strategic secrets that people don't know that they could do today that would raise their ranking in LinkedIn and help them to be a better connector?
Well, you kind of said like, oh, people could do their bio, but the thing is, one of the things you can do is fill out the entire profile, because you cannot get to all-star status and you can't get the high branding numbers if you don't fill out the entire profile. You'll know if you filled it out because it'll say all-star, but some people just focus on the couple areas and they don't complete the whole thing. And even if your college degree you don't think is relevant, it doesn't really matter. You have to have it in there to be in an all-star status, and you never know when somebody might connect with you because you were in that college and they were in that college too. So don't disregard things that you don't think are relevant right now. Definitely put those in. So that's one thing. It's going to take some time to complete your profile, Cami, in the right way. And I think people, we want to get it done quick. We wanted to get it done quick. I get that. I want to get done things quick too. Trust me. But using LinkedIn is a marketing strategy. It's not just a tactic that you just turn on and you're done. It's a strategy. It requires work. And if it's the place for you, take the time to make sure you have it filled out properly, meaning understand who your target market is and be speaking to your target market. And I say that, and I'll tell you, most people I talk to are all over the board about who their target market is. They're trying to reach everybody, and that's not going to help you. So understand that. Understand what you sell and how you serve, and make sure that you've got all those keywords and that information in your profile. So that's one way. The other thing I would add that's really important, critically important, is that LinkedIn rewards you for daily activity. So go in every day. So first thing is spend some time getting your profile right. The second thing is go in every day and spend 5 to 15 minutes engaging with people, looking up people, researching people, commenting on their things, maybe creating your own posts. If you write blogs, put them in there. Spending time every day will help you increase that social selling index, which will help you continue to get into the news feeds of your best prospects.
Now, when you say every day, LinkedIn is obviously more of a business than a social, but is every day, does that include Saturdays and Sundays too?
That's up to you. What I find is that because it is a business networking platform, what happens is I get, a lot of times we all get in the rabbit hole, social media rabbit hole. I can actually feel better about my time in LinkedIn because I know that I'm reading information and articles that are about my business. So that's time involved in my business versus Facebook, where I could get down a rabbit hole of something totally out of whack going on. Saturdays and Sundays, does it have to be Saturdays and Sundays? No, it doesn't have to be. It's more about consistency. If you go in, if you're listening to us right now and on Monday, you go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we don't see you for 5 or 6 weeks, that's not consistency. If you don't go in, if you go in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday forever, then that's consistency. So whatever you're doing now, if it's nothing, create yourself a plan for going in 3 to 5 times a week, 5 to 10 minutes, but only after you've gotten that great not after you've gotten the great profile, but I just don't want to minimize the power of having your awesome profile. You did not just throw up a website in 2 seconds. I mean, you probably spent $1,500 to $5,000 creating a website, deciding what the content is, being super hyper focused and critical about your message, who you reach. Do the same thing for LinkedIn, because it's probably actually going to be more valuable for you than your website anyway, because it's creating that searchability for you.
I hear that. And one last question about, because I'm looking at my phone, and when I go into to do a daily activity in LinkedIn, you have the little place where you can upload your post. It says post, article, photo, etc. When I'm on my phone, can I actually do an article through my phone, or do I have to go on my computer to do an article?
Yeah, you can do it through your phone.
So when I click on it, it doesn't seem to give me a differentiating, this is a post, this is an article. Can you speak to us on that real quick?
It should say, let me go open it up real quick. So continue. Are you on an iPhone or are you on an Android?
Android.
Okay. So I will say.
So I click on my Android and I see the little thing with the little, looks like a pen, and I click on it and it says share an article, photo, video, or idea. And I can do a live, I can put a photo. So whatever I type, yeah. It seems to me that it's posting it, but it doesn't give me the opportunity to make it an article.
Yeah, so you have to do that through, here's what you can do. You do have to post your article. Well, are you writing your articles on your phone? Are you writing your blogs on your phone?
Well, the answer to that is, well, no, because if I go in through my phone and if I type something right now and I post it, it's posting it as a post. So I'm not writing an article through here. That's why I'm asking if.
Okay. No, you actually do you have to write the article through your computer. You can share your posts. You can do live video, and you can put a meme or something like that on there, but you do have to do the article right through your laptop.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask.
That's right. Yeah.
Because, typically we're on our phone. And so to be on the phone is more of a post if you want to actually do an article. And guys, I have to encourage you, reach out to her, set up an hour, whatever it is that she charges, whatever the investment is. It is so well worth it to understand the difference between posts and articles, because she shared with me a lot about the articles and why you want to do them, and the search capability of them, how they come up in SEO versus obviously Facebook, it does not, etc. So I cannot recommend, of all the people that I have on, I've had some great people that have awesome information and things that are about mindset and different ways to all that. But this is pragmatic. This is like things you can use. Reach out to her, to you. I'm just saying to my people, you got to reach out to her so that you are not. I'm all about leveraging time. I love Facebook. We're on Facebook right now. I'm addicted to it, but leverage your time with LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, that should be the name of your program. Leverage your time with LinkedIn.
So, Cami, on the posts and the articles, one thing people do is they decide they're just going to do one of these things. But I have to remind people there are different kinds of learners. So just doing video is awesome because it helps your search, but don't just do video. Write the articles too. Write the posts. You'll notice when you start to post, they'll get more views than your articles, but there's a reason you want your articles in there, because they get published on Google, Yahoo, and Bing, and you can repurpose those articles very easy to your Facebook and Twitter and Instagram or wherever else you're at. So definitely, I like to use LinkedIn as my foundation platform for my business, and then I repurpose everything from LinkedIn to the other social media platforms. And then I do use Facebook. People want to get to know you on a personal level, and we don't talk puppy dogs and rainbows in LinkedIn. It's all business. So do that too. I think you should do both, really.
Absolutely. And the videos that you do, you can have transcribed. And when I wrote my book, I actually did video. I didn't sit down and type out my book. I did videos, and then I had it transcribed and made it into the book, which is way easier. And I use something called I can't think of the name of it. When I think of it, I'll put it. Yeah. It's only like 4 letters. Rev.com.
Rev. Yeah. I've not used it, but I hear good things.
Rev.com. $1 a minute to have it transcribed. So if you have a 10-minute video, you send it to them for $10. It's transcribed, and you might need to clean it up because the way that we talk and the way that we type are two different things. But guys, this has been some invaluable information. from
Thank you.
both of us on how to create connections.
Mhm.
I honor you. I am
Thank you for having me, Cami. You're so awesome.
grateful to have had you on. Well, and I'm so glad that what you and I both do, what we both teach, we practice what we preach. We are on here right now because we actually both do exactly what we are training and teaching our people to do. And I think that's so important. Why in the world would somebody hire a financial advisor that's broke? Why would you hire a physical fitness trainer that's smoking cigarettes in the back and eating McDonald's when you're not looking? Hire people that actually do that which they are teaching you to do. And in this case, that would be us, because we are right here right now because of doing exactly what we've been talking about.
We are on fire.
Love you, girl.
Thanks, Cami. We are fierce,
we are
on fire, baby.
Fabulous, fierce, and on fire. And it's Fridays with our friends. Awesome. Bye, everybody. Thanks for your time.
Bye, Cami.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.